Hey, welcome to another edition of Up and In It. I'm your host, Adrian Babashoff, and if you're new here, this is a show dedicated to bettering your life through freedom and independence, exploring alternatives to the daily grind, moving from surviving to thriving, and living life raw. Today, I'm not really on performing that well with 2 hours of sleep. My oldest daughter decided to go out and meet a friend at 1 o'clock in the morning, a 13-year-old, and ended up 5 miles away with fog and thought that there was a mountain lion following her. And I think she learned her lesson, but I am definitely not spot on as I usually am. 2 hours of sleep. But let's get into this show because it involves my daughter, and it's where the alternative lifestyle has gone wrong. I'd like to point out that I lost my relationship over it, which I've explained in Simple Life Warnings podcast I did a few days ago. This one now is moving into my child's life. I can maybe start this off with the grass is always greener on the other side, and that's what we have, is we have me living a simple life with lots of money in the bank and lots of plans and everything set forth, but it doesn't fit the lifestyle that my child is becoming, what she's forming into. And she has exposure to things like Dave and Buster's and movies and going out and spending lots of money all the time on which I consider unfulfilling things. They're kind of okay, you have a time, but I would rather take, say, $100 and go do what I did last week and camp for a couple of days at the oceanfront, right in front of the beach, get some wonderful food and drinks and play guitar by the fire. And so the grass is greener, always on the other side. But I think what I tried to instill in my child, and I think that I would like to instill in some of you thinking of doing an alternative lifestyle design, is that it's very difficult. You have a lot of people who want to seek that entertainment, and that, in my view, a lot of these things are convenience. And how much is convenience actually robbing from our pockets and our time? We work very hard for our money, and there's a lot of us who are in the struggle. Do we deserve to go and spend all that money to make ourselves happy for an hour or 2 hours or one night? It's a decision that needs to be made by each individual. And as I've said on my podcast, it's not my job to form any of you or my child. It's just my job to inform with whatever opinions or knowledge that I think that I can pass down. So it's been a very difficult one. We're moving on to how it's gone wrong with my child. She's very unhappy with things, and she's embarrassed. I don't blame her with the simple lifestyle design that I've chosen. We do live in an RV full time. We've been living in an RV off and on for the past 5-6 years, I think it's been. But it's finally fitting in with society. She's worried about what people think of her. And that's one thing that I preach on this for my philosophy on getting ahead and getting out of the rat race and everything, is the very first thing you got to do is not give a shit what people think of you. Because our lifestyles and our mentality, everything becomes different. You start to view things. I just did a show on stacking functions. And when you get in that mode, it's like you can't stop and you want to keep going with it. You want to find things in stacking functions that have taking one object and making it do multiple things and having it have multiple purposes, and getting ahead and being able to relax and get rid of that anxiety and be able to do like I did last week, where I'm laying in the back of my truck just watching the waves, not with nothing in particular, no agenda other than to just let my mind get clear. And it's not for everybody, I guess. And with a child, it's a very difficult thing. It's like a moth to a light. And I'm a country living type of person. My dream would be to have an acreage and do permaculture and live lightly on the planet, give back to nature, live in harmony with nature instead of against nature. But it's going to take a lot of work and money and time, and I have no backup. There's nobody there, no cavalry coming. There's nobody holding a glass of Gatorade when I'm running, the marathon here. I've got it. That's why a simple life works for me. Also, having my special needs daughter. I think I have a jump on you guys as far as not giving a shit what people think of you, because we get looked at all the time. So I'm kind of used to it by now. Yeah, I'm kind of forced to do, those of you who follow me, to run my life like a business and to think of these things and come up with plans and solutions constantly. And that's the basis of my show on the intro, I think it was, podcast number 1. Because of the restrictions and things I've had to go through, sharing what I've learned to you guys if you didn't have the hurdles and things that I have, you would excel so much faster. And that's the inspiration, the foundation of the show, is that there's a whole different way of living. But is it for everyone? I think not. And I think it could be a very dangerous thing where I think that my daughter now might possibly want to move out of my house and move in with her mother, who, I don't want to get too personal information, but financially, I don't think that it's possible because the plans and implementations have not been set in. I think a lot of people go out and have fun, the old ant and the grasshopper story, but they don't think about tomorrow. They don't think about retirement, which I'm not 100% for retirement, but I'm just saying these systems that are in place are telling you this is what you need to do. And look at statistics and you find out, well, is anybody prepared? No. Well, not anybody, but a large amount of people are not prepared. And it's a scary fucking thing. And what I found was that, and my daughter doesn't know this, Confucius, the knife is sharp. She needs to get cut to find out, that, hey, this is something to deal with. Then she'll actually know. But what I found from a lot of people around me going to the concerts and doing all kinds of fun stuff all the time, they're in debt. They've been putting everything on their credit cards, and I don't know what the plan is to file bankruptcy or what, but it's definitely not a life I want to live. And the danger of this situation is that I don't want to change my life for my child. I want to be there for my child, and I love both my child and my dog Hazel, who's sitting at my feet right now while I do this podcast. To go and work and grind and spend all of our savings, it's just not feasible, and it's something that's breaking my heart and is very dangerous. And you guys, I'm very new at this whole social media thing, and I'm spilling my guts, and I feel like fuck it, man. Like, I speak from the heart, and I speak honest. I'm not trying to put up a show. I'm not trying to sell anything to anybody. I just want to prove that there's a life of freedom out there. But I don't know how dangerous it is to share all this information. But it's real, and I think it's real talk. And I think, as I said on my very first show, I want you guys to see the good parts, but I also want to expose the bad parts. There's nothing that's just 100% fantastic. It's not utopia. We don't have all the answers, but we definitely have tools to work through to make life easier. My plan to finish up with my daughter is that, as I said, the Confucius, the knife is sharp, is she's going to need to find out what that means. And there's only one way that she can, is to live it. I spoke on another one of my podcasts, is the learning pyramid, and listening to someone lecture, you only get 10 to 15% information retention from listening to someone speak. It's the most horrible form to learn things. It's scientifically proven if you need it. And at the bottom is to actually teach someone, show them physically or mentally how to do something, and immediately have them practice or teach it to other people. And that's the quickest way to absorb things. And I think that, unfortunately, my daughter's going to have to learn that lesson on her own. And it may not be for many years. Still here for her, but that's a lesson that she's going to have to go to. And I thought I would just share that information. And I don't know if this stuff's too personal, but I'm going to go ahead and do it anyways, because this show and all this information, all this life, everything needs to get exposed. We need to put our energy on these things because it's real life. It's not all the fake glamour and glitter that's out there. So I think a lot of people are in love with the idea, but not the reality. And I think this goes into business. It goes into alternative lifestyle design. It goes in with everything. And I think that that's what happened with my relationship with my child's mother, was that everything sounded cool. It's like, oh, we can do this. We'll get a farm, but the work on the road to get there is just not cut out for most people. So I think each one of us, we all need to dig deep inside of ourselves and find out who we are, what we want. And that's what scares the fucking shit out of me, is there's a lot of people I talk to, my daughter included, and I ask, what do you want? And the big majority of people I ask is, they don't know. And that's scary, man. We have a whole life to live. But I think that following my philosophies and the things I have to offer is that let's get that time down, man. Let's get that time to slow down so you can find out who and what you are and what it is that you want, and have some reserve of money and run your life like a business so that you can actually see what's happening, what's falling and what's not. Where are the dangers and where are the opportunities, and to be able to just sit back and take mini retirement so you can reflect. I think it's all in the long game. We look at things now, and the work I had to do to get here was a lot of work. And as I said, I think it messed up my relationship, and it looks like it's messing up my relationship with my daughter. But she's only 13. Her cerebral cortex is going out of whack. It's like a cuckoo clock. Like, yes, I am. No, I'm not. Yes, I am. No, I'm not. But the long game, you guys, that's what you got to look at. All this short game shit, this get rich fast schemes, they don't fucking work. I mean, if people were selling shit and they were rich as shit, why the fuck would they be on TV or YouTube and shit trying to sell you even fucking more? I don't fucking get it. Maybe there's some out there, but anything that happens as a rule in nature too for sustainability, nothing in nature, if you want to learn a lesson from nature, that nothing happens overnight. It's a development, and there's many parts that go with it. There's symbiotic relationships, and things need to mature, to grow, to be here for tomorrow, for the long game. And it's just the view I have. It's all these things are just my opinions, but I hope they make sense to you guys. Yeah, I've lost a lot of family members and friends. I think people are embarrassed to, to see someone like me. I forget what etiquette is. I'll give you guys another personal story. My daughter asked me about very serious issues about sexuality and violence and all these things, and I tell her flat out like it is. This is what, and I don't give it crazy like, I give a little bit of some hard truth, and then I wait to see, would you like to hear more? Yeah, I don't want my daughter hearing information from somebody else, especially from her friends. They don't know what the fuck they're doing, especially about sexuality. So we're very open with everything. I think this is the education. I wish I had people like that in my life that I can be honest around and trusting, and to find out exactly what are these things and how I can interpret it and use these tools for myself for gain. I think there's a lot of beauty in the world, and I feel just like my show for you guys, but even for my child, is that I can shortcut her with information to not get rich quick or anything like that. No, but to shortcut these problems and these wonderment, these obstacles, and maybe get ahead in life a lot faster. So yeah, I forget what normal behavior is. That's as far as and I think it's embarrassing to my daughter, that me and my special needs daughter will be sitting in the grass, rolling around, wrestling in the middle of we're in a parking lot. We act silly and we do things all the time. I personally, I'm kind of like a wild animal, man. I'm feral. I'm shaved up right now. It's the first time I did this in a while, so don't get used to this. For those of you watching the podcast on YouTube, yeah, baby face. But yeah, I'm the type of guy that'll just, go to a party, crack open a beer, and sit in the dirt with my kid. I really don't care for aesthetics. I care more about what people have to offer, about how things function, what they do, and what they experience. I don't give a shit about how things look or smell or how they're perceived. It's what does this thing do for me? What's the ROI? What's the return on investment? It's not just money, but with spirituality and happiness and everything else. It's more about sharing an experience. You guys, I hope this show found you well. Again, sorry, I'm not tip top today with 2 hours of sleep. I think I need to get some rest. But if you guys like this sort of thing, check me out on the Facebook. There's a private site on there, Up and In It. I post things there that I don't post on YouTube. Or anywhere else. Check me out on Instagram. That's where I post every single day. I try to show you guys what my life is about, alternative lifestyle design, what it looks like, and fun stuff on there. There's also the podcasts and the YouTube. So you guys, don't lose your muchness. Carry on the fire. Human up. Live it, love it, own it, and bone it.